In the previous spoiler, it was mentioned that as a Domain Master level core member of the Virtual Universe Company, Luo Feng has earned the rare opportunity to cultivate in the beginning universe for 300 years. Since time flows much slower in the beginning universe, which is approximately one-third the speed of the original universe, this means Luo Feng will be away from his homeland in the original universe for nearly 1,000 years. It's worth mentioning that the fundamental reason for the slower time flow in the beginning universe lies in the fate of Ancestor Yuan. Shortly after breaking through to become a true god, Ancestor Yuan violated the supreme laws and was eternally suppressed by the will of the universe origin, causing his miniature universe to remain in a perpetual beginning state. As a result, not only is time slower in the beginning universe, but the original laws of the universe also occasionally manifest on their own. These naturally emerging law engravings align perfectly with the chaos steel, giving cultivators a tremendous edge in their enlightenment. Their comprehension efficiency increases dramatically, which is at least 10 times that of the outside world. Therefore, despite the slower time passage in the beginning universe, the astounding improvement in cultivation efficiency means that overall strength grows much faster than in the original universe. This is one of the main reasons why countless cultivators dream of entering the beginning universe to train. However, the beginning universe is far smaller than the original universe, which is only about 1/10,000th its size and can host only a limited number of human lifeforms. More importantly, within the entire beginning universe, the only true place available for cultivation is Primal Chaos City. The leader of Primal Chaos City is not the owner of the beginning universe and, unlike other true gods, cannot observe or control all events in the miniature universe with a single thought. Thus, in order to ensure the safety and effective management of the cultivators within the beginning universe and to prevent infiltration by enemies or traitors, the population of Primal Chaos City must be strictly regulated. Under these many restrictions, entry into the beginning universe has become extremely rare and precious. Only the true elites and top-tier geniuses of the human race are given priority, and Luo Feng is one of them. After arranging some protective measures for his family, Luo Feng successfully passed the application to cultivate in the beginning universe. He first returned to the headquarters of the Virtual Universe Company via Dylan's Divine Kingdom teleportation. Then, he boarded a company-arranged spaceship and officially embarked on his journey to the beginning universe. At this point, Dylan and the other bodyguards had effectively completed their duties. This is because, according to the Virtual Universe Company's rules, once a core member breaks through to the World Master level, they are no longer entitled to any bodyguards or escorts, where their safety from then on is entirely their own responsibility. At the same time, Luo Feng's decision to enter the beginning universe also meant he was voluntarily giving up the opportunity to undertake Domain Master level missions. It's important to note that once inside the beginning universe, he would no longer be able to accept tasks assigned by the Virtual Universe Company, thereby losing one of the main avenues for accumulating points. Although King Jinyan was surprised by this decision, he did not object. On the contrary, he showed his support and affection as a teacher through his actions. When Luo Feng arrived in Primal Chaos City and paid a special visit to King Jinyan's residence, Jinyan generously spent billions of points to purchase a vast collection of auxiliary manuals and cultivation techniques related to weapon creation and secret techniques. These books not only provided Luo Feng with reference and inspiration, but also helped him create powerful secret techniques tailored to his personal comprehension of the laws. After all, with Luo Feng's current understanding of the original laws, he was already capable of creating his own secret techniques. No matter how powerful or refined external secret techniques and weapons may be, they can never match the effectiveness of something crafted specifically for oneself. Custom-made methods can better unleash one's full potential. Of course, without a clear direction, blindly attempting to create one's own techniques can waste enormous amounts of time and energy. Therefore, thoroughly studying and learning from the experiences of predecessors beforehand is a crucial step, as one must discern which paths suit oneself and which do not. For example, the Golden Horned Beast's inherited technique Absolute Space relies heavily on using the tail to rapidly adjust posture and unleash explosive speed. But since the human body lacks a tail, it simply cannot replicate the same level of power. Similarly, the technique Heaven-Tearing Claw cannot achieve the Golden Horned Beast's destructive effect without modification or especially designed weapon structure. After all, whether in terms of palms or claws, shape or structure, humans and the Golden Horned Beast are entirely different. Therefore, the power of a self-created secret technique depends not only on one's depth of comprehension of the original laws, but also on the breadth of one's knowledge and accumulated experience. From this, it's clear that King Jinyan's care and effort toward Luo Feng far surpassed the typical bond between master and disciple. After all, spending nearly 10 billion points is an astronomical expense even for an invincible king immortal. Yet, King Jinyan did so without hesitation, showing not the slightest regret. This generosity stemmed not only from a teacher's affection for his disciple but also from King Jinyan's deep realization, through years of guidance and observation, that Luo Feng's ability to merge and utilize the original laws of gold and space revealed extraordinary potential. He clearly understood that Luo Feng's future accomplishments might exceed all conventional expectations. It was precisely because of this insight that he was willing to invest heavily at this stage, providing Luo Feng with the best possible cultivation resources and knowledge support without reservation. In fact, this massive investment ultimately brought King Jinyan returns far beyond his expectations. After all, once Luo Feng stepped into the level of Universe Master, his combat power far surpassed that of ordinary true gods, allowing him to effortlessly acquire all kinds of top-tier treasures. At that level, a single set of treasures given casually by Luo Feng would be worth hundreds or even thousands of times the value of King Jinyan's original investment. Among the many secret manuals gifted to Luo Feng by King Jinyan was a top-level technique created by the legendary spiritual master Shi Luo Duo. This technique was modeled on the golden space beast god and centered on the fusion of the original laws of gold and space. Once mastered, it enabled a cultivator to stand above all powerhouses below the universe master level. If one could truly merge the gold and space laws into a single unified law, it would be possible to make a breakthrough and reach the pinnacle of the universe master realm. Unfortunately, even someone as powerful as Shi Luo Duo was unable to take that final step before his demise. Of course, even with King Jinyan's wealth, it was not enough to purchase the complete version of this secret technique. What he could afford for Luo Feng was only the first volume. But even just the first part, if fully comprehended and successfully cultivated, would allow Luo Feng to rival invincible king immortals like King Jinyan himself. This illustrates just how astonishing the power of law fusion can be. So, what exactly is the difference between the combined application of the gold and space laws and a true gold-space fusion law? In truth, the difference between the two is fundamental. In the early stages of the evolution of the original universe, the original chaotic law was first divided into the two upper laws of time and space, which were then further derived into the 8 lower original laws. Each original law forms a relatively independent system, possessing its own unique structure, principles, and secret engravings. When a cultivator uses 2 or more original laws simultaneously in battle, without exquisite control, they may fail to unleash any combined power. In fact, due to the repulsion between different laws, the attack's power might even be weakened. Thus, merely combined usage does not equate to true fusion. Only through precise harmonization, where the laws complement and reinforce each other, can their power be multiplied. The concept of fusion law, however, is fundamentally different. As the name suggests, it is not simply about using laws together, but about truly fusing an upper law with one of its corresponding lower original laws on an essential level. Once successfully fused, this creates an entirely new, higher-level form of law. This new law completely eliminates any prior separation or repulsion, achieving a perfect unity of energy and principle, resulting in a power surge that is hundreds or even thousands of times greater. Unfortunately, cultivating a fusion law is far more difficult than comprehending ordinary laws. The difficulty is so immense that it is considered over 1,000 times harder than following conventional paths. Across the entire universe, those who have ascended to the level of Universe Master through mastering a fusion law are exceedingly rare, so few that they are as scarce as stars at dawn. As a result, although many universe venerables initially choose the path of fusion, most are eventually forced to abandon it and instead pursue the more traditional method of breakthrough, fully comprehending the 2 upper laws of space and time, and using that as a foundation to advance to the Universe Master level. Even then, those who truly succeed in breaking through are extremely rare, highlighting just how difficult and brutal it is to become a Universe Master. In order to fully unleash the power of the fusion law, Luo Feng chose to start from the fundamentals, focusing on completely comprehending the first 3 diagrams corresponding to the original law of space. Within Primal Chaos City, his 3 bodies worked in harmony, each fulfilling a different role in their joint cultivation. With the help of insights from the Beast God statue, verification through the external manifestations of universe operations in the beginning universe, and frequent opportunities to listen to sermons from King Immortals, his strength advanced steadily day by day, constantly improving with every passing moment. During his participation in the lecture hall studies, Luo Feng occasionally encountered other domain master-level core members belonging to the Virtual Universe Company. However, his relationship with these members was far less close than with fellow Pinnacle Geniuses battle champions like Rong Jun and Uka from his own batch. In fact, among those 10 domain master-level core members, most held no goodwill toward Luo Feng and even harbored subtle rejection and hostility. While competition was certainly a factor, the deeper reason was that Luo Feng's growth speed was simply too fast. As a talent rarely seen even in a billion years, Luo Feng had long been the focus of attention and high expectations from the Virtual Universe Company's upper echelons. But to the other domain masters, this looked like someone with shallow seniority but excessive favor. After all, each of them had spent tens of thousands of years cultivating to reach their current level, whereas Luo Feng had advanced from universe level to domain master level in less than 1,000 years, making it impossible for them to see him as an equal. As a result, many privately predicted that Luo Feng was destined to rank last in the upcoming qualification battles and would ultimately be eliminated to the beginning void space. Their judgment was well-founded. Among the 10 domain masters in the primordial void space, the strongest had already passed the 11th level of the Heavenly Bridge, and the weakest had surpassed the 10th. In contrast, even the top-tier universe-level core members had only passed the 8th level, making the gap in strength clear at a glance. Considering that Luo Feng had only superficially passed the 7th level of the Heavenly Bridge, in their eyes, he was simply not on the same level as them and naturally unworthy of closeness. What they did not know, however, was that although Luo Feng appeared only as a domain master, he had actually already stepped into the world master realm, cultivating at a pace far surpassing that of typical domain masters. In an environment where resource competition was especially fierce, a genius recognized by many upper-level figures as once in a billion years naturally attracted jealousy and exclusion. Regarding this, King Jinyan, who had long watched Luo Feng's growth, had solemnly warned him there was no need to deliberately hide his strength. Because in the face of absolute power, all dissatisfaction and prejudice would eventually turn into awe and admiration. After nearly a century of cultivation in Primal Chaos City, Luo Feng had long exhausted the opportunities he had previously accumulated to comprehend the Chaos Steel. To acquire more opportunities to comprehend the Chaos Steel, he finally decided to stop holding back and put all his effort into breaking through the Heavenly Bridge. His performance this time shocked all the onlookers, even leaving King Jinyan incredulous. As Luo Feng's teacher, King Jinyan should have been fully aware of the level of Luo Feng's comprehension of the original laws, but the results Luo Feng displayed this time far exceeded his expectations. The only reasonable explanation was that Luo Feng was hiding some unknown secrets. However, King Jinyan did not investigate further. He understood that every cultivator has their own opportunities and secrets where these are blessings and karmic ties between them and the universe. Those who truly respect others would never pry into such private matters. On the contrary, incessantly digging for answers only reveals shallowness and rudeness. In King Jinyan's view, Luo Feng's future was destined to be extraordinary, and being able to constantly guide and assist his growth was the greatest achievement for a teacher. Because Luo Feng was hailed as a peerless genius rarely seen in billions of years, news of his breakthrough on the Heavenly Bridge immediately attracted many powerful figures to watch. Numerous universe venerables had long been closely monitoring Luo Feng's growth speed and had secretly dispatched their own Marquis and King Immortal level immortal powerhouses to observe his movements. To many of these immortal powerhouses, Luo Feng breaking through from the 7th to the 9th level of the Heavenly Bridge in just a few hundred years was already considered defying fate. If he could truly pass the 10th level, it would be a world-shaking and extraordinary feat beyond all reason. However, what shocked everyone was that Luo Feng effortlessly broke through 5 levels in one go. Even more astonishing was that they soon realized Luo Feng didn't seem to be giving his full strength. In each level's challenge, he would fight his opponents for multiple rounds before defeating them, as if treating the opponents on the Heavenly Bridge as sparring partners. In fact, Luo Feng's attention often focused on the moves and techniques used by his opponents' Yenshin armaments, clearly observing, learning, and absorbing experience. After all, the opponents on the Heavenly Bridge were all simulated by the virtual universe using top-tier data. Their weapon usage, law mastery, and combat awareness were all at the most perfect standards, making them extremely valuable as references. For Luo Feng, these opponents were an excellent opportunity to temper himself and refine his skills. While many immortal powerhouses were still marveling at Luo Feng's breakthrough of the 11th level, he once again shocked everyone by successfully passing the 12th level, indisputably becoming the strongest among the core members at the Domain Master level. This achievement left all spectators stunned and in disbelief. It should be noted that among the 10 old domain master members of the primordial void space, the strongest had only reached the 11th level, and that took tens of thousands of years. As for Luo Feng, he had not even practiced for a full 1,000 years and had already left them far behind. Such a feat could no longer be described as genius, it was a miracle. When Luo Feng successfully passed the 12th level of the Heavenly Bridge, the immortal spectators seemed to momentarily lose their judgment, unable to rationally speculate whether he still had the ability to continue. At that moment, they even began to question the standards they had long used to assess strength. Because up to the 12th level, Luo Feng's performance was still effortless, clearly not having reached his true limit. But from a rational perspective, they almost unanimously believed that Luo Feng was absolutely impossible to pass the 13th level. The reason was simple: the gap between the 12th and 13th levels was fundamental, not just a linear increase in difficulty, but a leap in qualitative transformation. Opponents at the 13th level not only possessed deeper mastery of the laws but could also unleash the strongest form of the Yenshin armament. However, the only slight regret was that, since the virtual universe matched opponents according to Luo Feng's domain master's status, these opponents, though capable of using the Yenshin armament's ultimate form, were limited by the domain master level and thus could not fully unleash the armament's maximum power. In the end, this formidable opponent was still decisively broken through by Luo Feng, who wielded a mind power amplitude more than 3,000 times greater combined with the beast god realm's overwhelming force, once again performing a feat that left all powerhouses dumbfounded. Luo Feng broke the norm again, powerfully passing the 13th level to the immense astonishment of the entire audience. It was only when Luo Feng failed at the 14th level that everyone finally breathed a sigh of relief. In fact, Luo Feng's comprehension of the original law of space only corresponds to the stage of the 11th level of the Heavenly Bridge. What truly enabled him to break through the 13th level in one go was his extraordinary amplitude of mental power, fused with the tremendous might of the beast god realm, which crushed enemies far beyond what should have been appropriate for his stage. So, you might wonder if the rule of thumb is that ordinary immortals' level of law comprehension corresponds to the 10th level of the Heavenly Bridge, why has Luo Feng, who has passed the 13th level, still not entered the realm of immortals? The answer lies in a deeper reason. The direction of comprehension from the Chaos Steel primarily focuses on the mastery of upper original laws. Correspondingly, the trials of each level of the Heavenly Bridge naturally emphasize the depth of understanding of these upper laws. For example, the 9-universe Chaos Steel that Luo Feng studied focuses on the cultivation of the original law of space. Meanwhile, the level of comprehension that ordinary immortals reach is a complete mastery of a lower-level original law. In other words, once a lower-level original law is fully comprehended, one reaches the law standard of the 10th level of the Heavenly Bridge and steps into the immortal realm. However, if one can fully comprehend an upper original law, one can pass through the 21st level of the Heavenly Bridge and truly enter the realm of universe venerables. The gap between these two levels demonstrates how profound and mysterious the upper original laws are, where the difficulty of fully understanding them is incomparable to that of the lower-level laws. Naturally, precisely because they are so profoundly difficult, once mastered, they bring about a complete transformation and qualitative leap. But why are upper laws not only harder to comprehend but also possess power far beyond that of lower-level laws? The fundamental reason is that the vast universe where Luo Feng exists is essentially governed by the supreme rules composed of 9 original laws of Great Tao. As the source of universe evolution, these original laws of Great Tao govern the existence and operation of all things. Among these 9 Great Taos are the Great Tao of space and time. Because of this, the original laws of space and time derived from these 2 Great Taos are not only structurally more complex and profound but also contain power far surpassing other lower-level laws. Under the rule of the supreme laws, these laws become the true foundation supporting the entire universe's operation, naturally possessing unparalleled strength. Fully comprehending them means not only mastering a higher level of power but also achieving a leap in transcendence in the level of one's own life. Well, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching this video. Wish you a wonderful day.